Karen is a senior in the piano department at Ruth Asawa School of the Arts, and Karen started the Medical First Aid and Anatomy Club. She has been interested in the medical field since she was 7, so let's welcome Karen on stage.
Hi everyone, my name is Karen. I am a senior from Ruth Asawa School of the Arts, and my project is creating a nonprofit organization called the Medical First Aid for Youth. This is targeting low-income middle school and high school students and teaching them first aid. So at school, I created the Medical First Aid and Anatomy Club. It started when I was interested in the medical field when I was little. This came to be when I started taking care of my family. It was started from my love for my family and how I wanted to take care of them whenever they had medical needs and whenever they're in pain. So I started researching on my own. I started taking notes on my own, and I started studying when I was 7. So I would go to the library. I would pick out the books, specifically ones on heart disease, heart attacks, and such, because my mom, who's in the audience right now, has had heart problems, and I did everything that I could as a little kid to understand her and help her with her pain. So in middle school, we were required to start volunteering, and we had a requirement for volunteer hours. I tried my best looking for volunteer opportunities and to learn more medical skills as a middle schooler, but there were no opportunities that were available for me at all. I've been having a hard time looking for medical internships, programs, and opportunities, even as a high school student, which I think should be the place where I should start and not in college. So from this opportunity, I decided to take human biology and nutrition at City College as a way to gain more knowledge. And when I finally did find a medical program during the summer, it's called the Medical Emergent Summer Academy. It was super expensive. It had a rigorous application process. I had to go through so much just to be able to have the opportunity to learn how to save lives. Right now, there are 25 club members at a small art school. And I want to emphasize art school. At an art school where everybody is focusing on art majors and majoring in what their art is, there are 25 members that want to learn more about medicine. Think about how much people in San Francisco that are high schoolers that want to have more medical education. In my club, I teach basic CPR, first aid, and anatomy, but I also go into more advanced skills such as suturing, splinting, stop the bleed, and also other stuff like public health, which is really, really important as well. So this is my vision. I want to continue spreading free and more access to medical education. I am wanting to create a nonprofit to give an opportunity for these students to gain these skills. And in the future, I want to grow this nonprofit and give opportunities to students around the nation. So going into what my nonprofit is, it will be called the Medical First Aid for Youth. So kind of my goals and purpose. I've had personal experience with the lack of medical education. My great-grandmother a few years ago suffered a stroke, and it was through that experience when I was going through what happened when she passed away, I was thinking, if I had these skills to recognize the symptoms of stroke earlier, I would have been able to call the ambulance earlier and maybe potentially have saved her. She was someone that I loved and cared for, that I saw for every single day, but I could not realize that she had the symptoms of a stroke. stroke is a progressive disease. And if the time was shortened to the point where I was able to call an ambulance earlier, she might have been saved. So through that experience, I want to create free access to medical first aid education for middle school and high school students, and education mainly targeted towards lower income families. Why should you pay so much money just to learn how to save a life? Learning how to save a life should be a basic principle that every human being should know. So to create this program, I would need a lot of funding. What this program would look like is it's going to be a 4-week after school program with 2 cohorts taught by me and another instructor. And my plan is for this 4-week program, the first week would be general CPR first aid, some kind of basic education. Second week would be the anatomy of the body and nutrition. Third week would be suturing, splinting, and stop the bleed. Then the 4th week would be about phlebotomy, public health, and mental education. So talking about funding, I'm going to need funding for materials. Materials for training is very expensive, and I'm going to need some support in providing the right amount of materials to properly teach students these life-saving skills. 2, I'm going to need a certified instructor, so somebody that is trained to give out these certifications. And 3, it would be getting myself certified to give out these certifications. I have the certifications myself, but I would also need a training certification. And the 4th one would be a venue and a space for me to hold this program. So looking into the future, I want to expand my nonprofit to not only give access to students in San Francisco, but also give access to students, equal access around the nation. Some effects on the community from this nonprofit would be, I would be teaching 10 to 15 students per cohort, with 2 cohorts running at the same time for 4 weeks. That's 20 to 30 students learning medical first aid in just a month. And this year alone, in the 5 months from January to May and June, that's 20 to 30 students per month. In total, that's 100 to 150 students that learn how to have medical first aid training, that learn how to save a life, that they can save their own family members if there is an emergency. Especially with medical support, ambulances, hospitals, those are super costly. And especially for lower income families, they may not want to call the doctor if they see something small, that a small symptom of, it could be a stroke, like it could just be like a small symptom of stroke and you just be blinded. You wouldn't see anything that was wrong with that. And having these life-saving skills, you know that that's a problem and you can save them early on. Another statistic that I learned, only 1 in 5 American adults know how to do CPR correctly. And there are 326,000 out of hospital sudden cardiac arrests per year. Think about how many people have suffered through that. And there are bystanders just standing around that didn't know how to help them. And to wait that long for an ambulance to get here, that has detrimental effects to their health and could also lead to them passing away. So strengthening the nonprofit, I would at that point need more funding for more students, also support with office work and training as well. And also growing with more programs and more cohorts so I can teach more students and having more variety of programs. And also just gaining feedback and advice from people that have been trained and also from the public. So expanding the nonprofit. I want to expand this opportunity to a wider scale and provide others in the nation with the same opportunity. And also, you guys can always speak up, give me advice, somebody, or like, let me know if you have somebody that could help out, any youth that are interested. I'm open to anything, and feel free to contact me later on if you want to talk to me after. I'm completely free, and just, yeah, let me know and talk to me about it. If you have any questions, come to me as well.